5 seconds. Sir, in this list of the various causes that led to the crisis which the textile industry was facing, only the fourth had anything to do with the September policy. The other three had nothing to do with the policy of the government but had everything to do with the efficiency of the management of the textile industry as such and their desire to get larger profits even at the risk of inviting consumers' resistance and thereby leading to the accumulation of stocks with the industry. Because the committee has concentrated its attention mainly on the policy of the government of September 1986, they have not been able to diagnose more fully the regions that are responsible for the accumulation of stocks, and still more important, they have not been able to give any recommendation regarding how the accumulated stocks can be disposed of. Sir, in this report and the various recommendations of the committee, there is hardly any mention of this problem, namely the problem of disposal of the stocks which have accumulated with the textile industry. Another reason also has been given regarding the accumulation of stocks with the mills. According to the committee, the accumulation with the mills is largely due to what they call the drying up of the trade channels, because the offtake from the mills has dwindled and the accumulation with the industry of stocks has increased. At one point, they make a rather startling statement when they say that if one were to compensate for the decrease of stocks with the trade, it would be found that there would be no accumulation of stocks with the industry at all, which is in excess of the stock normally with the trade. In other words, there is no problem, according to this committee, of the accumulation of stocks at all. It is merely a question of the distribution of stocks between the industry and the trade. If some means could be found whereby the trade can be encouraged to take a larger share from the industry, the problem of accumulation would be automatically solved. That particular recommendation deals with larger credit facilities to the trade, and it is almost taken for granted by the committee that if larger credit facilities are given, the trade will have a larger offtake from the industry and the problem of accumulation will be solved. I would submit that in spite of the figures that have been given over there, the problem of accumulation of stocks remains as serious and as acute as ever, because this small shortfall which is now visible in the accumulation of stocks is largely due to the decreased production and not increased offtake either by the internal consumers or through export. Therefore, the question of accumulated stocks remains as baffling as ever in spite of the investigations of the committee and the recommendations that the committee has already made and which the government has already accepted. To my mind, the real problem that the textile industry faces is the problem of these accumulated stocks, and that can only be solved by finding some way whereby either this stock is sold within the country or outside the country. At one point, the report says that a large part of the stock is unwanted and unsellable because it consists of coarse dhotis and saris which are not required by the market. Consumer preference is for finer varieties and therefore the coarse stock is lying idle. If that be so, the government and the trade will have to apply their mind to find out what inducement can be given to the consumers in order to see that somehow or other this stock is taken off the hands of the industry. Sir, when we heard about the burning of wheat and potatoes in the United States because production there was in excess of the requirements of that country, we were laughing over it here. When a large number of people of other countries are dying of hunger, it is rather preposterous that these stocks should be destroyed in the United States. What is happening in our own country regarding these dhotis and saris is that while a large number of people are going without adequate clothing, these stocks are getting deteriorated in the hands of the mills. Therefore, just as we demanded that the stocks of wheat and potatoes in the United States should be given to other countries where they are badly needed on certain advantageous conditions, sooner or later the industry and the government will have to come to the same conclusion regarding the stock which is lying with the industry today. There is no other way of solving this problem because, as the committee rightly points out, it is an unwanted stock and it is unsellable stock. This is the finding of the committee that large the closure of mills is due to bad management which purposely allowed the machinery to be deteriorated in order to earn larger profits.
Subscribe now and press the bell icon. Never miss an update.